one thing that makes it easier for a firm in an oligopoly market to gain and maintain a large share of the market and a large share of the market power is if they experience and benefit from network externalities. So network externalities happen when the number of customers who purchase a good influences the quantity demanded. So the more customers who have it, the more want it. Examples are with cell phones and fax machines, right? If you were the only person who had a fax machine, then there'd be no point in having a fax machine. But the more people who have them, the more useful they are because you can actually use them to send messages and things like that. So cell phones, same thing, or apps like social media apps. If you're the only person on your particular favorite social media app, then it's not that much fun. It's not that useful. There's no point, right? But the more of your friends who get on it, the more of it, the easier it becomes to convince more friends to get on it, those apps, right? So this is a network externality. Network externalities make it easier for firms to attract new customers and to keep customers from switching to a rival. If everybody's already on this particular app, when a new app comes out, they better be really good to get folks to switch over because they're not going to leave all their friends behind at the old app, right? And it stresses the importance of a critical mass, that in order to get off the ground, Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat had to have a buy-in of a particular critical mass of customers. If they weren't able to get up to a specific amount of customers, then they weren't going to make it, right? Because if your friends aren't on Snapchat, there's no point you being on Snapchat. Network externalities cause switching costs. So these are costs that are incurred by a consumer when he or she switches suppliers. So if there's a cost to moving from one app to another, oftentimes that's a social cost or a cost in fun, right? If all your friends are on one app and you switch, then you lose some of the fun that you were having on the old app, at least until your friends all migrate over, right? So that's a cost of switching suppliers, and it can mean demand for the existing product becomes more inelastic when those switching costs are high. So cell phone providers know this and will do things to try to increase those switching costs, like early termination fees, free in-network calls, things like in the past you weren't able to take your cell phone number with you when you switched providers. That has changed because of antitrust laws. But those are sort of strategies that phone providers would use to make it more costly to switch to a different supplier and to increase the network externalities for their particular brand. How does this relate to oligopolies and market power? Well, as you could probably guess, the stronger the externality effect, the more market power the firm will have, right? So the more network externality you enjoy, the more inelastic your customers are, the more folks are going to flock to your product rather than your competitors, because you have the critical mass, you have all their friends, and so you're where they're going to come, and the more market power you'll have. So the first firm into the market enjoys a significant advantage. They grow quickly, they capture a large number of consumers, which makes it really difficult for smaller rivals to gain a market share, or maybe forces them out of the market altogether. It means the new arrivals on the scene have a lot to prove. Right? They've got to prove that it's worth it to switch to them when all your friends are already on a particular app or using a particular type of technology.